The Early Line with Mario and Musso. Mario and Musso have your early line on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
I mean, we're just here to have fun and win and have fun by winning.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios, here's Mario Jerez and Matt Musso.
And a good Tuesday afternoon. Welcome in. Matt Musso alongside Mario Jerez. We have your early line. Casey Gaines, Taylor Sharp, along for the ride as well. Glad you're here. Big day. NBA postseason starts. Not necessarily the playoffs, but the postseason starts. Couple play-in games tonight. Nets, Cavs. That's the late one. Also Clippers and Timberwolves. It's going to get you started off here with the NBA postseason. We have more Major League Baseball picks for you today as well. A 2-0 night here. We both hit on that Wander Franco prop, and then the Blue Jays, man, on the money line over the Yankees, a 3-0 shutout for the Jays. So see if we can't keep the train rolling. Major League Baseball picks coming up, and Rafael Esparza at 2:30. What does he have in the bigs tonight? But also get a preview of all four the NBA play-in games with our guy from DocSports.com. How are you, Mario?
I'm good, Musso. Good vibes on a Tuesday. The postseason in the NBA starts tonight. Well said, not quite the playoffs, but the postseason. Eventually, we'll get into the playoffs. And for the first time in the history of this great state, you can wager on the NBA postseason. So very excited about that. Very excited about Pelicans Spurs tomorrow. Let's have another good one, man.
Let's get right to it. What are we watching tonight? Here's our daily spread.
Daily spread. What are Mario and Musso watching tonight?
I'm talking about big money. Real big money.
This is our daily spread.
Mario, let's get it started here with an NBA game, one that we both have some takes on. And that's the Clippers and the Timberwolves. The Wolves -3 at home here tonight in Minneapolis, a total at 230.5. The Clippers, though, man, look, they're hot. We've talked a lot about the Clippers, a lot about Paul George and his return, and it's kind of made all the difference for this team. And when you look at it, it's made the difference both offensively and defensively. So just in the 5 games played in April, and I know you had some guys being rested or whatnot down the stretch, but in the 5 games in April, an NBA best 103.2 defensive rating for the Los Angeles Clippers. This is after being one of the best defensive teams up until the All-Star break and then struggling until George's return. Remember, we said both offensively and defensively, right? Averaging 127 points per game in the 7 games since George's return. And they'll need that against the Timberwolves team that finished the regular season leading the NBA with 116 points per game. But you can argue they'll need the defense even more, right? You look at the Wolves, 55% of the Wolves offense comes from Karl Anthony Towns, Anthony Edwards, and D'Angelo Russell. Russell, for what it's worth, is questionable tonight. Non-COVID illness. It's kept him out of the last 2 games of the regular season. But 3 guys, 55% of the offense. And the Clippers, they've controlled Towns pretty well so far this season. In 3 games, 15 points, 42% from the floor, his averages. The Clippers are scored and now once again have the defense that should be able to handle the Wolves best. Without D'Angelo Russell, you have to worry about 2 of them. If you have all 3, if you can just shut down 1. If you only worry about 2 and you shut down 1, you like where you are. I like the Clippers plus the 3. Maybe a little money line sprinkle as well, Mario.
We are in agreement. Good observations there. Minnesota really top heavy with those 3 guys. The Clippers really good depth, one of the best benches in the NBA. And like I said, I'm with you. I like the Clippers and the points here, plus the 3. The Clippers relatively healthy compared to what they've been all season. Still no Kawhi Leonard. He remains out for the foreseeable future. They will have Paul George again. Luke Kennard, wing player, really good 3-point shooter, is questionable with a hamstring injury. But either way, the Timberwolves, in my opinion, getting a lot of respect here from the books with this 3-point spread. I maybe expected it to be a little shorter, but either way, it's been a really good year in Minnesota. All things considered, they're looking for their 2nd playoff appearance since 2005. This is a franchise that hasn't had that much success. It's going to be really lively inside of the Target Center tonight, and it should be. This is one of the most improved squads in the NBA. They finally built around Cat, put some good pieces around him, including second-year star Anthony Edwards, who's putting up 21 points per game, shooting 36% from behind the arc, shooting the ball really well from behind the 3-point line, and the addition of Patrick Beverley was really significant, in my opinion, like we've talked about on this show. Really good young core for the Timberwolves, really fast-paced. Like you were saying, they score a lot of points. They're fun to watch. Chris Finch, the former Pelicans assistant, has done a really good job. all that being said, the Clippers are heating up right now, and they've added a healthy Paul George. And like you were saying, that's made all the difference in the world. Both sides of the floor, like you're saying, really good two-way player is PG-13. We'll see which version of playoff P shows up once the playoffs start. This is the play-in, so maybe ramp his way up a little bit. Paul George needs to do. But Ty Lue has done a really good job in a tough spot this season. The Clippers head coach, all things considered, through all the injuries, they are 2 games over 500 going into this play-in game. Only 31 games from Paul George. When he does play, they're really good. 18-13 straight up with PG in the lineup. Since he's come back, they've won 6 out of 7 games. He's putting up 24 points per game on the season. Pretty good basketball. And picking up Powell and Robert Covington from the Trailblazers at the deadline, that was really big for the Clippers' perimeter defense. One team's trash is another team's treasure. That has kind of been the case here. So we both like the Clippers and the points. Not sure if I'm going money line just yet. By the time we get the tip off, I might join you, put down a little sprinkle. Yeah,
maybe. I haven't done it yet either. I'm just saying maybe a little sprinkle. You brought up Pat Bev, and you're right. We have talked about him a lot on this show. That's going to be a really interesting matchup. So I'd imagine he's going to spend the majority of his night guarding his former Clipper teammate, Paul George. So to see those two guys go up against each other, obviously PG, one of the best scorers. Pat Bev's a really, really good defender.
Yes, and last thought on this game, watch the matchup with Ivica Zubac and Karl Anthony Towns. One time these two teams played, they got in a little scuffle there, and Karl Anthony Towns, this is only his second trip to the postseason. Composure is going to be big, especially for a young, inexperienced team like the Minnesota Timberwolves.
All right, we'll get back to basketball here momentarily, but I do have a baseball play that I want to get to, and the first pitch is coming up rather soon, 3:10 Central Time. Cleveland and Cincinnati, the battle for Ohio. It pitched Shane Bieber for Cleveland versus Tyler Malley for Cincinnati. Both of them coming off great outings in their debuts this season. Bieber 4 2/3 on opening day versus the Royals. Gave up just 1 earned run. Looked good and looked healthy. That's what's most important for the former Cy Young winner. Malley got his 22 campaign, started with 5 shutout innings and 7 Ks versus the defending World Series champions, picking up where he left off from a career year last season. You look at the Indians lineup, they come in hot, scoring double digits in their last 2 games, but I'm a little skeptical still. That was against the Royals' 3rd and 4th starter. Against the top 2 arms in KC, Cleveland managed just 2 runs in 2 games. One of those games went extra innings. The Indians lineup is a new one for Malley. Only 5 hitters have faced him, a combined 5 for 20 and a 250 average. Bieber, on the other hand, very, very familiar with this Reds lineup. He's held this group to a 10 for 44 clip, 227. I like both arms to go out, build on their first outings early in the season. Under 4 runs in the first 5 innings. It's coming back about $1.05. Cleveland at Cincinnati, first 5 innings, under 4 runs. 3:10 Central, first pitch for that one.
All right, we're keeping it Ohio-based here for my next play as part of the daily spread. Back to the NBA play-in we go, where the Nets are an 8.5-point favorite at home against the Cavaliers. And before I give a pick here, just a little bit of background. This is the first postseason appearance, not playoffs, postseason appearance for Cleveland without LeBron James since 1997. So this is a significant step for the franchise. Regardless of what happens tonight, I think the Cavaliers have had a really good season, and it's kind of disappointing, Musso. You know from talking about the Cavs on the show that there was a point this season where they had a chance to get the 5th seed, maybe even the 4th seed in the Eastern Conference, but they've just had some really bad injury luck down the stretch. Big chunks of the season here in the second half without Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, and Jarrett Allen. And Mobley, Garland, both back for the game tonight. Jarrett Allen was doing his best to try to get back against his former team, but the all-defensive center is out tonight for Cleveland, and they've been trending downward recently. Just 3-9 against the spread are the Cavs in their last 12 games. Again, they will have Mobley, they will have Garland tonight, but they will not have Jarrett Allen, and that's huge. That being said, all the trends here will tell you to take the Cavs and the points here. Brooklyn at home, Musso, you know this, just 10-31 against the spread. 10-31. That is a huge sample size. I mean, Jesus. For whatever reason, they do not cover at home, and they are just 5-26-1 covering at home as a home favorite, which they are tonight. The Nets also 3-9 against the spread when they are favored by 7.5 to 9.5 points tonight. And they do not do very well against teams with a winning record either, which the Cavs still do have. All that being said, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, still by far the best players in this game. I'm going with the star power here. With those two guys on the court, the Nets average 122.8 points per 100 possessions. That's near the top of the league. Kevin Durant, 33 years old, but still a beast, averaging 29.9 points, 7.4 rebounds, 6.4 assists, shooting 51% from the field, super efficient. Meanwhile, Kyrie, also in his 30s, at 30 years old, putting up 27.4 points, 5.8 assists per game, shooting really well from the three-point line is Kyrie, 41.8%. So the glaring issues for Brooklyn, the lack of continuity as a team, that might be an issue a little bit down the road as we get later in the playoffs in the 7-game series. But for here, I'm going with the star power. I'm taking Brooklyn and the points. I got them at -8.5, but I would maybe play that all the way up to -9.
You know, you talked about the Cavs kind of slipping down the stretch there. A lot of it, man, has just been because of injuries. They were one of the better young teams throughout the majority of the year, and you know, the injury to Mobley, you mentioned to Allen, it's just kind of hurt them, and it's specifically defensively. I'm absolutely staying away from that game tonight because I still can't figure out the Nets. I've faded them at home a lot this year, and I'm pretty sure all 10 of their wins against the spread are probably games that I faded them in. So I don't know.
I hear you, but KD, Kyrie, they're not always locked in, but tonight they are going to be. This is the postseason, and Kyrie going up against his old team.
And the Nets have been sharing the basketball really, really well. Like really, really well. One of the top assist rates here as of late in the NBA.
Forgot to mention Seth Curry questionable in the game for Brooklyn. That is a big factor. Either way, I still would take them in the points.
Last one for me, another Major League Baseball play. So, look, Mario, we mentioned it off the top there. Wander Franco last night. We both rode a hot bat with a prop bet of total bases. I'm doing it again tonight. So the Royals visit the Cardinals, 6:45 p.m. Central first pitch. The hot hitter in this one, Andrew Benintendi. Oh, we miss him in Boston. But Andrew Benintendi, off to a 7-for-13 start with 1 home run so far this year. He's only struck out once and has walked 3 times. Benny, usually one of the hardest players in Major League Baseball to strike out. Former Arkansas Razorback, of course. He will be facing former Mississippi State Bulldog Dakota Hudson tonight. Hudson missed a lot of time with injury last year, but since making his MLB debut in 2018, has had a really nice start to his young career. This is something that I like here. Hudson will pitch more to contact, right? So through just career strike, so far through his early career, a strikeout rate of 18.1%. Against the guy like Benintendi who makes a ton of contact, this matchup should favor the hitter. I'll take Andrew Benintendi over 1.5 total bases tonight, plus 120.
All right, we like the over bases props, carrying over the momentum from El Patron yesterday.
Hey, man, he was 3 for 4. I mean, that was never in doubt. I mean, that's about as rocking chair of a coverage you can get on a prop like that. So let's see. To recap our daily spread, Mario and Musso, both of us Clippers plus the 3. Keep an eye out for a little money line sprinkle. Mario also laying the points with the Nets, fading those Cavs. I like under 4 in the first 5 innings, Cleveland, Cincinnati, and Andrew Benintendi over 1.5 total bases. See some of your plays already coming in the Bayou Ford YouTube chat. Keep those coming. We're going to grab our first break. Come back on the other side. Continue some NBA play-in talk, but maybe another little angle to look at with the New Orleans Pelicans. That's next. Rafael Esparza still to come as well. Early line, 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Mario and Musso, the early line. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
If you're in an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney and call the law office of O.C. Brown.
At the law office of O.C. Brown, we're a family-owned firm. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
And this year, 2022, it's time to finally treat yourself. Bring your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service. You want the latest and greatest marine technology? You want to go to the place that has not one, but two NMEA-certified techs. Family-owned and operated by the Sherman family for 30 years, front-to-back is the answer in Baton Rouge for all of your custom boat needs. So head to fronttobackboatservice.com or find them on Facebook, Front to Back Boat Service.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Hey, look what I found!
The motivation I needed to live healthier. My new favorite sport.
I found my groove.
I found I'm part fish.
My second win when I needed it most.
I found more than a gym.
The affordable childcare this mom needed.
Time for myself.
We found our why.
Have you found yours?
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Moscona inviting you to join us for Tuesday's AFR, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Football Tigers back on the practice field. We'll be talking some Tiger Spring and LSU baseball against Lamar. We'll preview it. Join us, 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Early line with Mario and Musso. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
The New Orleans Pelicans in the NBA postseason, Musso. They host the San Antonio Spurs tomorrow, 8:30 tip. Not thrilled about that, but I'm still going to be in that number for sure. We'll be making the drive down I-10 to the Smoothie King Center, where it should be a good atmosphere. The Pelicans are favored by 5 still, over under at 227.5, according to MyBookie. We'll speak with Rafael Esparza of MyBookie coming up in the next segment, but as of today, Brandon Ingram still listed as questionable for the Pelicans. Willie Green said the plan is for him to play. I have a really hard time seeing Brandon Ingram sitting out a game with just hamstring soreness, so it looks like he will play. The Pelicans will wear their city jerseys, which a lot of people are excited about.
Love it.
They love the city jerseys, as does Musso, and they will give out red T-shirts to every single fan. I like the red color combination. I do too, and I like the navy blue also, but the only thing that kind of triggers me is when they wear the white, because historically the Pelicans have not been good playing with white. They lost to the Warriors in an elimination game in 2015, and in 2008 I know they were wearing it during Game 7 against the Spurs. Also, doesn't it kind of look like the surrender flag if everybody in the arena is wearing a white T-shirt?
Yeah, you're talking like a whiteout for like the
Yes.
crowd? Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, but I don't really consider that one of the Pelicans' colors though either, right? I mean, their colors are red, gold, and navy blue.
They have a white scheme though. They can still
I mean,
push for.
they have white jerseys that But I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say that's their primary color.
No, but no different than it was for the Hornets. If they still did it when they were the Hornets, I would assume that they could do it when they're the Pelicans. But either way, that is my least favorite color for everybody in the stadium to wear because it looks like you're surrendering to the opponent. Everybody's wearing white.
Just from a uniform standpoint, yeah. Okay, so navy blue, gold, and red are the official team colors. If I'm going to rank the uniforms, the reds are obviously number one. I'd probably go city next. I'd probably go with the city next, then just the white ones, and then the navy blue ones. Just those are not good.
No, we're in agreement.
I don't like those.
That is enough uniform talk for today. But they will be wearing the red tomorrow, or they will be wearing the city jerseys, I should say, and they will give out red T-shirts to every fan in attendance. And from a betting standpoint, Musso, this is a really interesting matchup because at home, at least recently, and at least as a favorite, the Pelicans have been really profitable. As a favorite at home, they are 10-4-1 against the spread. So maybe you could read into that a little bit if the expectations go up. Maybe this team plays a little bit better in front of bigger crowds. I don't know. Take that for what it's worth. But we know what the Spurs have done as road underdogs, 19-12-1 against the spread. No NBA team was more profitable on the money line as an underdog. The only teams that were more profitable against the spread were the Miami Heat and the Oklahoma City Thunder, strangely enough. Kind of weird to see OKC there. But the Spurs have been red hot, including that game against the Pelicans that they won. They are 7-0 against their spread in the last 7 games. And like I was telling you during the break, last year, they were in a very similar situation. 10 seed facing off against the 9 seed in Memphis Grizzlies, a team that was young, up and coming, a lot like the New Orleans Pelicans, and the Spurs lost that game, but they did cover as 4-point underdogs. So the trends would definitely tell you to take San Antonio in the points here.
Yeah, it's not just what they've been across the entire season from a profit margin. They've pretty much just been an ATM machine when it comes to facing the Pelicans. In their last 9 matchups with the Pelicans, 8-1 against the spread are the San Antonio Spurs. How's this for a little bit of a different angle for you, though, Mario? Maybe something to keep an eye on. All right, so kind of right there off the top, you mentioned Brandon Ingram. Questionable, probably going to give it a go at the hamstring, but how much can you really expect from him? That's going to be a good question. You'll get your answer, and I think you'll know pretty fairly early in that game what to really expect out of Brandon Ingram. So keep an eye on Jonas Valanciunas. He's going to have a massive game in place of Brandon Ingram. And if you want a little bit of different angle, maybe look at some of his props because he's had some success not only this year, but against the San Antonio Spurs this year. So just in the month of March, he averaged 18 and 11. And then in the 4 games against San Antonio, 17 and 12 so far. So maybe take a few look at some of the props that you might see with Jonas around this game because Brandon Ingram, while he'll be out there, will probably be a little limited, and you're going to need somebody to pick it up. And Jonas Valanciunas might be the next best guy out there to do so.
Yeah, and going up against Jakob Poeltl is going to be a really important matchup in this game. We talked about the last game where the Spurs just dominated the Pelicans on the offensive glass. I believe they had 15 offensive rebounds in that game, and Jakob Poeltl is a big reason for that. Kind of gained the game for the Spurs. He's their leading rebounder at 9.3 rebounds per game, but I agree with what you're saying on the defensive side of the floor. I don't think he can move his feet fast enough to maybe contain Jonas, and I really like that prop. Valanciunas might have to be aggressive in this one, especially if Brandon Ingram is hampered in any way. I was honestly a little surprised he didn't play against the Warriors. I would think that they would put him in just to kind of get his feet under him a little bit, but maybe that speaks to your point. Maybe he is a little bit more hampered coming into this one.
I think at that point you had already clinched the home court for the play-in, and it's just like, man, let's just sit him out. I mean, I get what you're saying. You don't want any kind of rust, but what happens if you run him out there and he gets hurt in a game where you don't need to win? I mean, you were in the play-in, you had home court locked up. That was just kind of play out the string.
That happened to Luka Doncic. I'm sorry, Jay Parker, if you're listening, but that exact scenario happened. And they were still playing for the 3rd seed. In fairness, we actually talked about that with Jay in the hallway, potentially avoiding the Phoenix Suns in the 2nd round, but a lot of people in Dallas upset at the fact that Luka was even playing in the last game.
Yeah, so I mean, I can understand, just okay, BI, look, go sit over there on the end of the bench too, mind you, like just go as far away from the scorer's table as possible. So you don't even think about coming in here. I get that. I'm just curious to see how he moves tomorrow. I mean, like a hamstring's that's a fickle injury, man. I mean, that takes a long time to get fully right, and hey, we'll see. He's gonna be out there, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Again, I think you'll know pretty early on.
He's been dealing with that all season, unfortunately. The fact that it's still kind of rearing its head, definitely not a good thing. So the status of Brandon Ingram definitely will be key. Before we get to Raphael, again, we'll give some formal picks on this game tomorrow, but just some observations I have now that we're close to 24 hours out. I talked about the offensive rebounding. Make sure you put a body on Pirtle at all times. Limit second chance opportunity for the Spurs. If you're able to do that, the Pelicans should be in decent shape defensively. Also, we talked about this during the break, but don't beat yourself. This is the NBA. We talk about this a lot during the NCAA tournament and with college kids, but things like not turning the ball over in a live ball scenario, making your free throws. The Pelicans shot 68% from the free throw line in the last loss of the Spurs in a 4-point game, so that's going to be important. And also take advantage of the crowd, man. This is a really good scenario for the team. They're at home. They've earned this opportunity, but the start of the game is going to be paramount. This is still a really young team. Doesn't have a lot of experience in the postseason. It's important that Willie Green keeps the Pelicans focused on the task at hand. Don't eat the cheese. Don't get caught up in the bright lights. Don't get caught up in the atmosphere. Use that as an advantage, especially from a gambling perspective. That's going to be a big key to this game, the start, and whether or not the Pelicans can utilize that Smoothie King Center crowd.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, look, it should be an absolute raucous environment in there. I mean, you said you were going down there. I was attempting to go down there, but driving, it's just a darn late tip-off, man. I think I might just stay at home. But the energy in that building is going to be incredible, and it's one reason you wanted it. Now, the matchup itself, we've talked a lot about it, and again, we'll talk more about it tomorrow, but it does make me nervous going up against the Spurs.
As it should, especially based on the trends there. We'll give a formal pick tomorrow. Right now, we'll go to break, and on the other side, we'll get a pick from Rafael Esparza as the Pelicans get set to host the Spurs. Also, look ahead to the action on deck for tonight as the NBA play-in getting started here on a Tuesday. Mario Jerez alongside Matt Musso here on the early line. We'll be back with more on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Early line with Mario and Musso. 104.5 ESPN. Our listeners fire up their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
This isn't just another day, it's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Service Mastery Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Mastery Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Mastery Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
Do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
If you're in an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney and call the law offices of O.C. Brown.
At the law office of O.C. Brown, we're a family-owned firm. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
And this year, 2022, it's time to finally treat yourself. Bring your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service. You want the latest and greatest marine technology? You want to go to the place that has not one, but two NMEA certified techs. Family owned and operated by the Sherman family for 30 years. Front to Back is the answer in Baton Rouge for all of your custom boat needs. So head to fronttobackboatservice.com or find them on Facebook, Front to Back Boat Service.
If home is where the heart is, a roof is a shield. That's why for over 25 years, South Louisiana always turns to Garcia Roofing and Sheet Metal. For more information, visit Garcia Did My Roof.
On Wednesdays, Off the Bench, Matt Flynn stops by for an hour of flustering. Plus, we start to dive deep on LSU, Arkansas, and Fayetteville, and a brand new Would You Rather Wednesday. Off the Bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN.
You're getting the early line with Mario and Musso on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Well, Mario, there is no season like the postseason, and the NBA's gets started tonight with a couple of play-in games, 2 more to follow tomorrow night. We'll go through all 4 of those right now with our guy from DocSports.com, MyBookie.ag, Rafael Esparza. Rafael, as always, we appreciate the time. How are you?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
We're doing great, man. Doing great. We're just happy to be into more postseason sports. You know, March Madness wraps up, and boom, here you go. 2 weeks later, not even 2 weeks later, NBA play-in games, and all 4 of them look like they're going to be pretty solid matchups. Let's start with the first game on the docket tonight. That's the Cavs at the Nets. Brooklyn laying 9.5 in this one with the total set at 227.5.
Yeah, this one opened up at 8, so wow, quickly moved up 1.5 points. I'm going to see how high this one goes. It's the early one. Was it 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time? If I can maybe see a 10 pop up, I might take a shot at Cleveland. Cleveland's been the surprise, one of the surprise teams all season long. They've been covering machines all season long as well. It's either Cleveland or pass me because there's no value left on Brooklyn.
Before we get a pick on the second game, Rafael, I want kind of your honest thoughts on the play-in tournament because most people seem to like it. I know it's beneficial to you for your job. It's beneficial to us for our job. But just from a fan's point of view, do you think it's been a good addition for the league, or do you agree with what LeBron James said a few years ago and whoever came up with this needs to be fired?
I like it because we get to see teams showcased on TNT and ESPN that normally we don't see as much. Example, the Minnesota Timberwolves tonight. We get to see them play in a big, meaningful game, a play-in game. So I'm excited for that, and I'm excited for tomorrow's game because, again, we get to see the Hornets on primetime TV. We get to see your Pelicans on primetime TV. So I'm excited. I like the play-in game. I liked it.
And I want to get a thought on that second game that you mentioned, the one ahead of tonight. Minnesota, a 3-point favorite at home against the Clippers. A surprise to some, given the fact that the Clippers are playing really well and Paul George is back healthy. But the winner of this game will play Memphis in the first round, while the loser will get the winner of Pelicans Spurs. Minnesota, like you said, having a really good season. They're looking for their second playoff appearance since 2005, so you know they're going to be really excited inside of the Target Center. Again, though, the Clippers red hot, winners of 6 out of their last 7 games. Since Paul George returned to the lineup, how do you view this game in Minnesota?
I mean, I think on paper, Minnesota's a better team. They have better players, better athletes, and they're not all banged up like the Clippers are. But I think the Clippers were a good play at +3. There's 2.5 popping up. Okay, Pelican fans, who do you want to play? If I'm the Pelicans, I'd rather play the Clippers than Minnesota. So I guess it all depends on who you want to play. If you can get past the Spurs, I think there's value on the under. With PG-13 back, the total has seemed to be good for the Clippers, especially on the defensive side. I think it's just a tad too high. And this is playoff basketball. We all know about playoff basketball. Defense usually wins these games.
I'm looking at the total in that one at about 230.5. Is that what you're looking at? And what type of movement can you expect?
It's already come down, opened up at 231 last night, came down a half a point. I would not be shocked if this comes down to a solid 230. I don't think it goes back up to 231. I think everyone usually realizes that playoff basketball is here. And usually I want to see how the first couple of games, because normally a lot of these playoff games go under.
Looking ahead to tomorrow's slate, Raphael, the Atlanta Hawks are a 4.5-point favorite at home against the Hornets with the total set at 236. The winner will get either the Brooklyn Nets or the Cavaliers, depending on what happens in that matchup. And from Atlanta's point of view, maybe not the regular season they wanted to have. 10 months after going to the Eastern Conference Finals, they had to win 7 out of 10 just to make it this far. And then the Hornets, kind of the definition of average, at least in the stat book. 43-39, 21-20 on the road, but they're playing well towards the end of the season. Winners of 3 straight up, and 6 out of their last 10. How you viewing this game tomorrow between Charlotte and Atlanta?
As I said, defense usually rules in playoff basketball. Not in this game, because I think the first team who scores 120 wins this one. I wish I could say the Hornets will win this one, but they're going to be without Haywood. I just think Atlanta had some really good success last year in the playoffs. I think that rolls into this one. Again, would not be shocked if we see a high-scoring game. I like Atlanta.
And then also the nightcap of the second day, the final play-in game you'll see is Spurs-Pelicans from the Blender. New Orleans, a sizable favorite in this game, opened up about 5.5, looking at it more now around 5 or so for New Orleans. And the Spurs come in winners of the season series, 3-1. Over New Orleans, maybe no Brandon Ingram, but what a lot of people have with the Pelicans down here right now is excitement, and that building is expected to be rocking. 228.5 is your total again with the Pels by 5.
Yeah, it is bumped up to 5.5, mostly at DraftKings, Bet, and MGM. They all have 5.5 now. To me, I think Brandon Ingram will play. He practiced today. I think that's why the line movement came in. And no matter if he plays or doesn't play, it's going to be a close game. I see whoever wins this game wins it by 4 points or less. I think the Pelicans win, but I'm going to take the plus points on the Spurs. I say wait. You could probably get +6 on the Spurs, especially if Ingram plays. I think the public would jump all over New Orleans. I like the Spurs to cover, but the Pelicans advance.
Makes sense. One last basketball question before we move on to the baseball. Do you have any future plays that you like in the NBA? We talked about the Heat. I got them at +550 to make the NBA Finals. Are there any plays in terms of future that you like here at the start of the playoffs?
I'm with you on the Heat. They have a nice double digits to win it all and to win the Eastern Conference on Miami. And I think the Jazz will play a little bit. I kind of like them on a series price against Dallas. I like the Jazz even with before the injury of Doncic. So I like Utah on the series price.
Back to Spurs Pelicans momentarily. Is there any value on the total in that one at 228.5?
I don't see it. I'll wait to see what happens on that one. I mean, it's a couple of days away. It's a high number, and I'm glad it's another good reason why I like the 2 play-in games. We could see if maybe defense and the playoff basketball starts going up early instead of waiting for Saturday and Sunday for the full slate of NBA playoff games.
Anything you like so far tonight, non-Major League Baseball, or this afternoon even?
Can the Cubs win it on their first road game is probably one of my bigger questions, and this one they have to face another Cub pitcher, Jorge Quintana, who pitched for them a couple years ago. I think there's some good value. I like the under in the Angels game. I think that goes in a couple of hours. I mean, the Miami Marlins have struggled to put runs on the board their last 3 games. They didn't go over 2 runs in any of them. The under has cashed 3 straight times. Really thought this total was going to be 8.5, not 9. So I think the under in Miami Angels game.
He is Rafael Esparza, DocSports.com, MyBookie.ag, here with some NBA play-in picks, as well as a couple tonight for Major League Baseball. Rafael, we appreciate the time as always. Thank you, and we'll do it again next week.
Take it easy, guys. Have a fantastic week.
You do the same. So, interesting there. I mean, that seems what any type of preview, speaking Spurs Pelicans here, any type of preview you read through or, matchup you read through, so much of the on court looks to favor the Spurs that you hear a lot of take the points, but New Orleans probably gets the job done. I like what he said there, too. Wait to see if you get an official announcement on Brandon Ingram, because if it jumps up to 6, I mean, now you're getting into 2 possessions here again. I mean,
yeah, I mean, look, man, we got to call a spade here. The Pelicans have a more talented team, in my opinion, but this is still a first-year head coach in Willie Green, despite how good of a job he's done. He's done a great job against Greg Popovich. Like, he's brought this team all the way this far. And remember the whole play-in scenario? It was a 3-way race between the Pelicans, the Lakers, and the Spurs. And a lot of people were counting the Spurs out in that scenario, especially with what happened to DeJounte Murray. But they closed the season so strong, not just from a win-loss standpoint, but also profitable. When they lose, they still cover, and when they win, they cover whatever number is there. So Greg Popovich just doing Greg Popovich things, and most people seem to think that it's not going to be enough for the Spurs to go on the road and beat the Pelicans that have Brandon Ingram, who's supposedly healthy, and now have added C.J. McCollum. But 5 points against any Greg Popovich team is going to be a big number, especially considering how they've been playing recently.
And then Raphael likes the Clippers with us as well, and the under in that game too. How about that? Clippers and the under, took the Hawks as well. We're going to grab a break, come back, close out early line next. Got a lot of plays came in the Bayou Ford YouTube chat to go through today. Also get you an update on our poll question as well. Close out early line next, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
The early line, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. The Baton Rouge Clinic brings you the 2022 Dreams Come True Radiothon. Help make a dream come true for a Louisiana child with a life-threatening illness today by making your donation at 1045ESPN.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Each year, Guarantee Media hosts a radiothon to benefit Dreams Come True. And this year, we need your help more than ever.
We've interviewed these incredible kids, and each and every one of their stories brings tears to our eyes.
To have a dream granted means more to these families than you'll ever know.
And it wouldn't be possible without your help.
Dreams Come True has been hit hard by the events of the past year.
So we ask for your support in helping this incredible cause.
Our Dreams Come True Radiothon is powered by the Baton Rouge Clinic. Visit GuaranteeMedia.com to pledge your support today.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Hey, look what I found!
The motivation I needed to live healthier.
My new favorite sport.
I found my groove.
I found I'm part fish.
My second win when I needed it most.
I found more than a gym.
The affordable childcare this mom needed. Time for myself. We found our why.
Have you found yours?
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Moscona inviting you to join us for Tuesday's AFR, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Football Tigers back on the practice field. We'll be talking some Tiger Spring and LSU baseball against Lamar. We'll preview it. Join us, 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Early Line with Mario and Musso, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Wrapping up the show here on a Tuesday, we will get to your plays in the Bayou Ford YouTube chat to wrap up today's show. But first, let's address today's Citizens Bank poll of the day. And the question posed to the audience here on the first day of the NBA postseason 2022, which major league has the best playoffs? The NBA, the NFL, the NHL, or Major League Baseball? The winner of the poll, with 59.1% of the votes, is the NFL, followed by the MLB, 25% of the votes, then the NBA at 9.1%, and only 6.8% of the audience says that the NHL has the best playoffs. I've experienced NBA, I've experienced NFL as well, Musso, but I want to give some thoughts on the other two. I would love to go to an NHL playoff game. I would love to go to a Major League Baseball playoff game. That's just something that I have not been able to experience. But watching on TV, hockey looks really similar to basketball. You know, color the whole audience with whatever color t-shirt you want. A little bit more physical of a game. I imagine that gets ratcheted up in the playoffs. And then baseball is just something I've never experienced. Like, the best baseball atmosphere I've seen is at Alex Box in college baseball. Yeah. And obviously that's much different from the pros.
Well, that's a pretty good one, though. It's a pretty good and pretty well known.
That it is.
The baseball atmosphere, especially in the postseason. But look, for me, obviously baseball is a favorite sport, but the Major League Baseball postseason is just so intense. That's what makes it so great, is just the entire setup of the game. And when it lends to that much pressure being on one pitch, one guy in a circle on a mound in front of 30, 40,000 people waving towels or yelling or cheering. And it's always low-scoring games where every single pitch means so much. And this is after playing 162 regular season games. You have great tradition, great brands for certain teams, certain franchises. I love the Major League Baseball playoffs. They are fantastic. And then, I mean, NFL, of course. I mean, look, it's king, and the NFL playoffs this year were very good. And they're getting even better because the league feels a lot more wide open now.
The loudest buildings I've ever been in have been the Louisiana Superdome, like the loudest venues that I've been in, I should say. I know Tiger Stadium has more people. I've been there in some pretty big games, but the way that the noise bounces off of the Superdome and the way that that gets ratcheted up in the playoffs, like, I don't know if I've ever heard a louder place in the Superdome for the 2019 NFC Championship game. Not a lot of people talk about the home field advantage because the Saints lost, but dude, you could not hear yourself thinking there. And it was funny because if you remember in the days leading up to that game, Sean Payton kind of pleaded to the crowd that after the team, even if they get a first down, the away team, we still need you cheering. We need you cheering in between the huddle, not in between snaps. And it was funny because the Rams would pick up a first down and everybody would be quiet for a second, but then right after Brandon Cooks, whoever called the ball, flipped it back to the ref, they would start cheering again. And that was unlike anything I've ever seen. So NFL might not be a bad vote either for best playoffs.
No, I mean, absolutely. The NFL, like I said, their NFL playoffs are great. I mean, the NFL's king, so, you know, people are going to go with that. I think NBA playoffs got shortchanged a little bit there. I'm not going to lie. You've seen some pretty awesome moments throughout the NBA playoffs. And that's another intense environment as well. But I don't know if you can meet the intensity of one guy throwing the ball to one guy with, at 98 miles an hour. So here, try to hit it with everything on the line every single time. That is, the intensity is unmatched.
That made me want to be there. MLB playoffs definitely on my bucket list, but the NFL wins today's Citizens Bank poll of the day for the best postseason of the major sports. All right, let's wrap up the show looking at your plays here in the Bayou Ford YouTube chat. Andrew, early in the show, said he likes a two-leg parlay with the Cavs plus 9.5 and the Clippers plus 2.5. Ed O likes the Nets and the Timberwolves on the spread. Also said he likes the Pelicans on the spread. So a little bold from Edward O.
Easy, Ed. Come on. Look, we all want him to cover and win.
Yeah, I would. This is an observation I forgot to give when we were talking about the Pelicans move. So we were talking about Greg Popovich. He is going to make sure he takes your best strengths away, right? And something that the Pelicans have not done very well this season is shoot the three-pointer. And recently, the addition of Trey Murphy has made the Pelicans a lot better of a three-point shooting team. But I expect Greg Popovich to force the Pelicans to play inside out, force them to shoot a lot of threes tomorrow. Let's see if they can take advantage of those looks.
I'm really interested in this Cavs-Nets game tonight. I really am, because we've gotten so many different opinions. So, like, you took the Nets. Edo took the Nets. Well, Andrew took the Cavs. Raphael said probably a stay away spot, but I mean, if it gets up to 10, I'd probably take a chance on the Cavs. There's just been so many different opinions, and I think that speaks to how difficult it actually has been to figure out the Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah, and
especially at home.
100%. And you could say kind of the same thing about the Hawks. That's a team that's been hella inconsistent this year. They've had injuries to John Collins all season. Trae Young's kind of been in and out. But again, kind of similar logic. Is Trae Young going to be the best player on the floor that night? Or is a LaMelo Ball, even in the absence of Gordon Hayward, kind of ready to take that mantle? And maybe LaMelo Ball in his playoff debut takes a big leap like Trae Young did right off the bat. Because remember, that was his first ever playoffs that he did that to the Knicks. We were talking yesterday about Yankees fans even chanting the F Trae Young. That's how big of an impact he's had on New York sports fans. And that's something you consider. It's always fun to see guys in their first postseason like LaMelo Ball. And that is a game that I right now am staying away from. But it should be fun, Charlotte and Atlanta.
And then I do want to get to this one baseball play we had out of the Bayou Ford YouTube chat before we run out of time. James Fortenberry likes the Astros on the money line tonight, coming back $1.50. They're facing Madison Bumgarner and the Arizona Diamondbacks. I like the play, but I'll say this. Consider looking at some Alex Bregman props as well, because Breggs has been absolutely on fire. Reigning American League Player of the Week. Started out 6 for 14 in the 4-game series with the Angels. Well, I think that had him at a 429 clip. The first 2 games of that series, he had a home run in each of them. So, I mean, he is pacing that Astros offense early so far in this season. So maybe, of course, Astros on the money line against the Diamondbacks, they should win that baseball game. But if you're looking for something extra, maybe something Alex Bregman, total bases or something along those lines for Breggs.
How your Red Sox doing? Is it going to be a happy conversation with our guy Matt Peralt when we have him back in?
The Red Sox are up 5-3 right now in the top of the 9th over the Detroit Tigers. They lost yesterday on a Javi Baez home run, though. So, but it's fine. They've played 4 games. They have 157 left after today. So. It's a long season. Long season.
A lot of season left for them. And LSU baseball got a little bit of the juice right now, too. We got a minute left in the show, Moose. So I saw this stat earlier today. Maybe you can tell me what to do with it. LSU has been hit by 74 pitches this season. The next closest team in the SEC is Missouri, and they have been hit by 46. That is a pretty big gap there. Is LSU just really good at getting hit by pitches, or is that just kind of coincidence?
No, I mean, it's part of what they do. I mean, if you look, first of all, they are on top of the plate. They're in the batter's box, but they are as close to that chalk line as they can be. They are on top of the plate, and they hold their ground. They don't move. Like that. That's the thing. I mean, that was such a big reason on Friday night. You look at a kid like Josh Stevenson. He didn't move his feet. He just stayed stationary, and the ball hit him on the foot. And if he moves his feet, it skips away. So it's strategy. They also, the closest team is Florida Atlantic. No, I'm sorry, Florida Gulf Coast in the country is the closest team to them. So they're up there.
Listen to the Musso at the Box podcast for all your LSU baseball talk. We'll recap the NBA games on tomorrow's show. Stay tuned for After Further Review. Matt Moscona coming up next, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.